And so to simply take out of context the circumstances and the situation that's affecting First Nations people and to put it that the sole cause is at our own feet. That alcohol is the burden that we brought within our own communities. I don't accept that. And so I want to be clear when I'm talking. And when I make references to recent past, that I'm not trying to rehash this, and I'm not trying to place a burden, as they call, of white man's guilt. That perpetuation within our communities of those problems are somehow yours as well. Because I don't believe that that's the case either. I guess I want to start by saying that, while June 29th, shutting down the 401, the highways, the railways, Unedited and the community that I come from, the nation that I'm a part of, is not a one-hit wonder. And oftentimes in the past, if you look to 1990 in Gunnasadog, or if you look to 1995, oftentimes that when a struggle comes into our communities and there's a significant shift, that people go out on the circuit and they talk about that. And somehow that it ends your responsibility. Well, that doesn't happen on Unedited either. We've been active since the late 80s. During that time, I've only ever had the opportunity to speak at 3 institutions of excellence. I've only been given that opportunity 3 times. And so there's a need, even by the state, even by institutions, to separate us from hearing the truth. The first time I spoke at a school was in 1993. And Unedited had ventured out into neighboring communities to expand territorial rights for fishing and harvesting of walleye. And at that particular time, we were confronted and people said, well, if you Indians come off the reserve, we're going to cut your throats and we'll turn the rivers red with your blood. And Mohawk people, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of perceived as a challenge. And so we went out there and we said, well, we'll meet you on those shores. You put as many men as you can muster there, and we'll meet you there. And at the end of the day, the last one standing is going to win. And in Belleville, there was 1,000 people that were on the shores in 1992. And we went there. There was about 400 of us. And when we got out and we said, let's get it on, people were like, Jesus, we don't want to go to jail for no Indian. We've got mortgage payments to make. We've got this in our lives. You have nothing. And at the end of the day, we were the ones that were in the water fishing. And we continued that. But in 1993, I was asked to go into Loyalist College of Belleville and speak on the issue of racism and the issue of harvesting. And as the poster says, Aboriginal rights, evicted from his property. And since that time, everybody has understood that the trashing of Jim Flaherty's office had nothing to do with the people of Tekajikam and had everything to do with the fact that the Tenant Protection Act came down and was realizing these evictions of people from their homes in Toronto. And that was the last time that I talked to non-Native people. Because I realized then that the way we lived and how we lived and the circumstances that we lived was only going to be corrected through the actions of First Nations people themselves. And so when I come here today, I come because looking in the room at the young people from different communities that have an opportunity to leave where they're from and come here to have an education, to have an opportunity at an education, not only do you have that opportunity here now, but you have a responsibility to understand the circumstances that have brought us to this point here today. And you have an obligation to your people within your communities to know the history, what government has done, what government is doing, and the avenues for us that we can go forward and that we can bring change that's never going to leave us again. And so this poster in front of me that talks about Mohawk militancy, it also has another line on it that talks about finishing the job. And more importantly, for the First Nations people here, we believe that over the past 20 years, we've not only undertook to understand the processes and the reasons why government has done what it's done, but that we, living in our communities, have found the way that we believe will allow us to fight back and to take back those things that are fundamentally ours, and to provide what every person wants, a safe, healthy, and happy environment with which to raise their kids. And again, I'm very happy for the opportunity to do that. So I'm going to start. You know, militancy, I've heard it called resistance. Resistance or militancy, it's a broad spectrum. And we need to understand, I guess, first, how those things are characterized, or how it's laid before us. Because, I mean, for me, protest is about city council saying your kids can't play hockey on the roads no more because it's a traffic hazard. Or you need a stoplight put up because there was accidents at an intersection. Well, you might go to city council and you might protest and you might make a case that that law should be changed. And that's a part of it. That's a beginning part of it. But then as you go along that spectrum of resistance or militancy, and you get to a point where people are picking up guns. And so there's a whole range of things in between. And I believe that how you resist and how you fight back has to be determined upon what the circumstances are and what the issue is that you're fighting back against.